In January 2015, ProReal Limited was awarded a Phase 2 contract by NHS England's Small Business Research Initiative Healthcare to evaluate the use of its software with young people. This short film summarizes the evaluation design and findings and includes a review of a session between counselor and client. The research team was led by Mick Cooper, who is a professor of counselling psychology at the University of Roehampton in London. Mick, who is an internationally recognized authority in the field of counselling and psychotherapy and a chartered psychologist, has led a range of research studies into school-based counselling. Let's use the ProReal virtual world landscape to visualize some of the key stages in this innovative project. ProReal trained 8 school counselors from the Metanoia Align team and placed to be in the use of its virtual world software. A pilot was carried out in June 2015. The study was conducted over 2 school terms from September to December 2015 and from January to April 2016. 54 young people, aged 11 to 18, from 8 schools in London, Kent, and Greater Manchester participated in the study. The ProReal software was integrated into school counselling sessions, with participants completing between 4 to 10 sessions using the software. The summarized findings can be condensed into 2 main points. Avatar-based counselling overall is associated with significant reductions in psychological distress at a level approximating that of other school-based counselling interventions. ProReal may be a useful tool in supporting therapeutic work with a range of clients, in particular young men and clients who may find verbal expression difficult. Here's an example of how one of the school counselors used the software with their client throughout the research.
Can you explain a bit about this scene and your client?
Well, my client was a young female who was deaf, and she came to counselling because she was really getting into loads of trouble at home and in school. She felt she was completely not heard, misunderstood, and she was very, very angry with the world. So if you look at the scene where she's on the left here, she's red and she's just raging with everything. And here, this other scene where she's grey, she felt very much, alone, misunderstood, and really at a crossroads in her life, didn't really know where she was going. Or when I first met Sarah, this was very much her. She felt really hidden from the world. She also had a bereavement which she couldn't talk to. She felt people didn't understand. So she could add different props to express her bereavement and her angry self. Felt because she was deaf, she felt she couldn't really express her anger because because she couldn't hear, people also wouldn't hear her anger. She could, with ProReal, she could add a prop and show her anger and be her anger in a sense.
And what's going on with this one here, this grey one?
Yeah, it was almost like as if there was 2 parts of Sarah. There was the really angry Sarah, and then there was the part where she felt very much alone in herself, in her anger, in her world. Because she was deaf, she had to try and read people's expressions, and because that sometimes took up an awful lot of her time, she would sometimes have an expression on her face that looked really angry, but she may not necessarily be angry, it's just she had to concentrate, and again, really misunderstood. Well, for me, during our sessions, it was like a progression from the barren, angry, misunderstood Sarah, and to eventually, I look at Sarah as being really gutsy and brave, because she managed to come out of this crossroads and she became a lot calmer. She saw the different parts of herself and she could accept it, and she could also present them and talk about them. And for Sarah, that seemed really important, to be allowed to express these different parts and also accept them. I found weekly during our sessions, she was the one that, she took over the sessions, and she just presented, this was her colour she picked, and it represented for her calmness, and she's looking back. And she was very reflective. She just said, yeah, this is me here now. I've moved away from this barren sort of crossroads to this brighter, calmer place. Which ProReal, as a counsellor, I found a really useful tool, because you could actually go back and visually see where the client has moved forward. If we go on a little bit further, we can also see another part of Sarah, which is really close to the water, and she found that view really calming. And she said in between sessions, she used that picture of the water when she was feeling particularly frustrated and angry. She still held this picture, so it brought her down to calmness really. And she wanted to name this Happy, and the colour here it looks golden, but it was she described it as being a really bright sunrise, really yellow sun. When she moved here near the water, she said she wanted people from becoming a really closed, lacking in confidence, didn't want to be seen, didn't want to be noticed, and all this angry. So she was really happy now, and she wanted people to look at her. She wanted people to see her, and I'm getting really excited about this. And also, one of the words she said was, I belong. I may be deaf, but I actually belong in this world, and I can move. I can move from being this angry person that's not seen. Sarah felt it was really, really important for her to see different parts of herself.
Great. Anything else that you want to add before we leave Sarah's world?
I think ProReal works really well with young people, and I think they really enjoy it. And I like the idea you can look back on different scenes, and you can follow your progression.
Great, thank you very much.
You're welcome.
It's been wonderful having you involved in this research, and thank you for sharing this story.
Thank you.
The researchers designed a mixed method evaluation with 3 main components. During this research, we have made significant improvements to the look and feel of our software. This is informed by feedback we received from young people involved in this study and user workshops. For more information about this research, contact ProReal's project manager, Eileen Peters, at eileen@proreal.co.uk. We would like to thank all the organizations involved in the research. And a huge thank you especially to the students who took part in our study, pilot, and user workshops, the school counselors who do such brilliant, vital work, the head teachers and pastoral care teams who helped make this happen, and our advisors and supporters. If you would like to use the ProReal software in your organization or with your clients, please visit our website.